The world in which we live in is a world of imagination. Imagining creates reality. If there's one thing that I've seen that's pretty popular in the conscious creation community, it is the notion that visualization is difficult. It is the notion that one cannot visualize. They cannot see themselves being the person they want to be. They cannot see themselves as having the things that they desire. Visualization is extremely important in conscious creation. It is extremely important in life. And to create the reality that you actually want to experience, to create the reality of your dreams, we will discuss how to visualize in this video. Welcome to Here Nor There. This channel focuses on conscious creation, self-improvement, and creating the life that you want to live. So back to visualization. What is it essentially? It is imagining yourself being the person that you want to be. It is imagining yourself in a state where you have already attained what you desire. Everything starts as a thought. Everything in this reality, this home that I am sitting in, your phone that you're viewing me on, or even your computer, this microphone, everything that we can experience with our five senses initially was a thought. Those thoughts typically turn into a visualization. Just think for a second. There was a person that visualized a cell phone without a physical touchpad. This was a thought first that became a desire, that became a visualization. Typically in the material world, we understand this through the notion of blueprints. An architect thinks about the type of structure they want to create, and then they meticulously plan it out in blueprints. They measure how tall the building is going to be, how wide it's going to be, how many rooms, what structures it's going to have within the building. If we can utilize this important technique to imagine the experiences that we actually want to feel with our five senses, we can alter our life. We can change our lives to be what we want them to be. We can guide them down the path of desired outcomes and have a level of control that may have eluded you your entire life. Life is not random. You know, when I was a lot younger, I thought that life was random for me. I thought life was random for other people, that it was the luck of the draw, that this person that obtains all of these, the riches, the recognition, the acknowledgement, the attraction, they get the girl of their dreams, they get the man of their dreams. It's all by luck. It's a genetic lottery. And I've grown to understand that that is not the case. When we start to harness our imagination and we point it in the direction that we want to go in, and we focus on that path and not the path that we do not want to go down, which is sometimes the default way, it's the default path that the brain takes. But if we change that default path and direct it to the things that we actually want to experience, the more favorable outcomes, we can effectively change our life. So in my opinion, there are two major factors to this way of thinking. One is feeling is the secret. Let's shift to the negative for a second. Whenever we call upon our imagination some non-favorable experience that we've endured in our adolescence maybe, or even just last week or the day before, whenever we think about an event or an experience that brings us some type of negative feeling, some type of pain, we typically have a physical reaction, do we not? Have you thought about any form of rejection that you've actually experienced, and you get this tight feeling in your chest? You may get a pit feeling, an empty feeling in your stomach. You may feel foggy-minded. You may actually perspire. Feeling is the secret. We can think about negative events and actually have a physical reaction. The beautiful thing about this, the beautiful thing about the subconscious mind is that it does not understand reality from imagination. So when you're having these physical reactions from these negative events that we all know that are real, we can switch it to the opposite spectrum, to where we can invoke positive visualizations, positive experience within our imagination, and invoke feelings of joy, invoke feelings of fulfillment, invoke feelings of happiness. We live in a universe of duality, yin and yang, good and bad, light and dark. For those negative experiences to exist within your imagination, for them to trigger physical responses, it works the same on the opposite spectrum. You can invoke happiness. You can invoke feelings of contentment, of satisfaction, if you visualize yourself in positive events, if you visualize yourself in positive experiences. So, manifestation in general has become pretty popular within pop culture within the last several years. One video comes to mind of the late, great Kobe Bryant. As you may continue to learn about me, I am a huge basketball fan. And I grew up watching Kobe Bryant win multiple championships. And he had a tenacity. I believe they call it the mama mentality now. He had a tenacity for winning. But also, Kobe had a tenacity for visualization. Here on YouTube, there's a beautiful short you can find where he was speaking to an audience shortly after his retirement. And Kobe was a lot more transparent, and he was speaking about how he got to be the legendary basketball player that he is known for today. How did he do so? He did so through visualization. In this video, Kobe describes how every night as an adolescent, he imagined himself playing in the NBA. He imagined the smell of the arena as he walked on court every day. He imagined what it felt to feel the sweat trickling down his arms, trickling down his back as he ran up and down the court. He imagined what it felt like to shoot the game-winning shot and to win the game and to be the man that he soon became. He did so through visualization, and he did so as he drifted off to sleep every night. In the description below, I'll leave a link to that particular video. It's fascinating. But a lot of our heroes and heroines have discussed the art of visualization in order to get to the greatness that we all know them for. Drake is pretty well known for his illustrious multi-million-dollar home in LA. Not only did he visualize becoming the internationally known artist that he is today, he visualized what he would attain once he reached that point, once he reached that state of consciousness. He visualized specific elements in his home, where it would be, how it would look, what it would have in it. So he took these elements and he created somewhat of a crude digital mood board, and he made it the background to his desktop computer. So whenever he interacted with his computer to send an email, whenever he interacted with his computer to listen to music, whenever he interacted with his computer to, for any myriad of reasons, right? He saw this visualization over and over again of something that he greatly desired. And that in and of itself allowed his mind to figure out the path of least resistance in order to obtain that reality. So essentially, this visualization created neural pathways within his mind to bring to fruition the reality that he wanted to experience of having this multi-million-dollar mansion, of having this amazing, internationally known rap career. All through the power of visualization, all through the power of using his imagination. There's one more celebrity that comes to mind, Lady Gaga. Every day she affirmed that she was famous. Every day she affirmed that she was this internationally known artist. And eventually she became the household name that we all know her to be. So, I, for one, love to connect the dots in this reality. And I do not think it's a coincidence that some of the people that we aspire to be like, some of the people that we admire for their artistry, for their accomplishments, that they are very transparent in how they got there. And they got there through utilizing their imagination, utilizing the power of visualization. So in my own practice, there are two components to visualizing successfully. One is feeling is the secret. As I described before, we can invoke feelings whenever we think about negative experiences. So what I'm challenging you to do is take a different approach and channel those positive feelings from positive experiences. So this takes imagination because you have to visualize yourself being somebody or having something that you have not attained yet. So back to feeling is the secret. Focusing on positive experiences so you can invoke positive feelings. When you align the heart with the mind through visualization, that is how you create the reality that you want to experience. The second component to this is living in the end. Whenever you picture yourself being or having the desires that you imagine, that you visualize yourself as the person that already has that. You visualize yourself as the person that already is the person you want to become. You live in the end. In Neville Goddard's writings, he always discusses living in the end. He always comes back to that key component of visualizing. Why does he do so? Because our human minds tend to drift into an area of trying to control all aspects of creation. We try to control the how. We try to control the when. Sometimes we attempt to control the where and even the why. But the only thing that we have to be responsible for, that we have to be accountable for within our visualizations is controlling the what. What do you want? When you decide what it is that you want, you live in the end. You create a scene to where you already have attained what you desire. You create a scene where you already have the home that you want. You create a scene that you're already in the loving relationship that you desire. You don't imagine how you're going to get there. You imagine being there. So let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this. How do you visualize? Within the Bible speaks often about conscious manifestation. And in this specific text, Neville takes a quote from the Bible to explain this visualization technique. Romans chapter 4, verse 17. Call things which are not seen as though they were. So let's get down to business. How do we visualize? How do we visualize more effectively? Step one, we define an objective. It is very important to set a goal for what you actually want to experience, what you actually want to attain. Step two, you construct an event in your imagination that implies the wish fulfilled. Basically, what it describes is you imagine an actual event that you will experience that implies that you have already attained the status, the material possession, the relationship, whatever you plan to experience, whatever desire you want to bring within your reality. You construct a scene in your imagination that implies you already have it. So this is very important. This is where I believe the most common missteps are made during this process. Sometimes we may slide into this thinking that we need to micromanage the manifestation process, that we don't go straight to the end, that we have to visualize or imagine each step in between. And the wonderful thing about that is you don't have to. It's actually a very linear process. You imagine what you want and you imagine and visualize already having. So in this scene that you are constructing in your imagination, you have already attained whatever the desire is that you wish to fulfill. Again, the important part about this is that you go to the end. You go immediately to the end of already having the wish fulfilled. We don't micromanage the steps in between. I would recommend that you not imagine a scene to where you are on the way to attaining what you desire. You imagine a scene where you already have that. Case in point, let's imagine you want to own $1 million home. You have the home of your dreams. Imagine, let's just say maybe it's on a beachfront. You don't imagine going to the loan officer, applying for the loan for the home. You don't imagine working whatever career field you're in, whatever job field you're in. You don't imagine working those days in order to save up the amount of money you need to purchase the home. You don't imagine going into the bank to draw the money out. You imagine a scene, you construct a scene that implies that you already have it. For this particular example, I would recommend a scene of a housewarming. You're throwing a housewarming after attaining the home. Let's say a month after attaining the home, it's already fully furnished. All your friends and loved ones are there. And you imagine your closest friend coming up to you, giving you a handshake or embracing you with a hug and congratulating you on your newly purchased home, how beautiful your home is. That is the scene that you want to construct in your imagination and repeat over and over again until you feel it real within. Let's use another example of everybody's favorite topic, a specific person, love, romance, passion. You don't imagine a scene of your specific person texting you. You don't imagine a scene of the first date. Let's jump forward. Let's imagine the scene of celebrating a 1-year anniversary. Let's imagine the scene of you traveling together on a trip, maybe 6 months from now. The sequence of events that has to happen to fill in that gap with that reality from your current state to the state of the wish fulfilled will naturally occur. There's no need to envision a text message if you're already envisioning celebrating a 1-year anniversary. It is already implied that there will be text messages, there will be communication, there will be dates. So we go to the end and we imagine the wish fulfilled. We imagine the desired state of reality. And we stay there with our imaginal act over and over again until it feels real, until you are satisfied. Step 3, you immobilize the body. What does this mean? Very simple. You rest. You go to sleep. You take a nap. Neville speaks of a state akin to sleep. This is the drowsiness that you are going into just before you fall asleep for the evening. This is the drowsiness you feel after a big meal. So what you're doing here is that you are constructing this imaginal act whenever you're getting ready to go into a slumber, whenever you're getting ready to take a significant amount of rest, sleep. I recommend before you go to bed for the evening that you visualize the state of the wish fulfilled. You visualize your desired outcome. You want to make this visualization preferably 5 to 15 seconds long. Too long and you may have trouble remembering it. Therefore, when you proceed into the repetition of this visualization, you may forget certain details if you make it a minute long. But hey, go with what works for you. If you have a good memory, if you have a photographic memory, then go for it. But I would recommend 5, 10, 15 seconds. Imagine this act. Imagine this visualization happening as you drift off to sleep. The last component here may be a bit controversial. Do you visualize within the first person where you are seeing the imaginal act through your own eyes? Or do you visualize in the third person where you see yourself, you are outside of yourself? Let's use 2 popular video games, Call of Duty and Overwatch. You have a first person perspective. You are looking at the action. You are looking at the game, the scene, the world through the eyes of your character. So you see your hands, you see your legs, but you do not see your face. You do not see yourself. Then you have third perspective, popular games such as Fortnite, for instance, where imagine there is a camera floating just over the shoulder behind the back of your character. So you see the full body of the character. It is very important, in my opinion, that you establish the proper perspective for visualization, and that is through the first person perspective. Now, there is some debate that you don't have to do that. You don't have to visualize through the first person. You can do so through the third. And there are plenty of people that have had things come to fruition in their own life visualizing that way. Within Neville's writings, he actually refers specifically to this perspective. Written in Thinking Fourth Dimensionally, Neville states, the difference between feeling yourself in action here and now and visualizing yourself in action as though you were on a motion picture screen is the difference between success and failure. Neville uses an analogy with a movie theater that if you imagine yourself as if you're watching yourself on a movie screen, you are in third person perspective. If you are imagining your visualized act outside of yourself, that is the difference between success and failure. Imagining yourself outside of yourself is failure. It will reproduce inconsistent results. But If you imagine yourself through your own eyes, you are programming your subconscious to guide you to experiencing that in your own reality. So, in conclusion, those are our 3 steps of visualization: set a goal, construct an imaginal scene that already implies you have the wish fulfilled, and visualize through your own eyes, visualize through the first person. I have manifested my dream car, my dream relationship, my dream job, my dream vacation, all through first person visualizations. This has been the most consistent technique, and it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm glad I can share with you. So, as the sun is setting over my shoulder this evening, this video has came to an end. You may have seen some of my pets scurrying around in the background. I'm a bit of a dog dad, so thank you for joining us this time on this wonderful journey. We're getting ready to go into 2024, and although 2023 has been an amazing year, 2024 will be an even more abundant year as you continue on this journey of learning how to visualize properly and using and harnessing your imagination to bring the reality that you want to experience to fruition. Again, I am Shaun, and you are neither here nor there. Thank you for joining me.